A life dedicated to the propagation of the temperament of science among children. An enthusiasm for teaching experimental science through low-cost, no-cost materials from daily life, and a person immersed in Rabindranath and Gandhi for the cause of humanity and environment. All these in one and only Samar Bagchi, still travelling throughout the length and breadth of India to the remotest of villages at the very young age of 90.
Sir, it's been pretty long that I had the fortune of getting associated with you. I still remember that day when I first approached you in a metro station at Rabindra Sarovar with my chemistry models. But actually, I first came to know of you that such a person exists who can bring science out of textbooks. When I was a student in the HS level and you came in our Doordarshan, at that time there was no colored broadcast, only black and white, but a fantastic program, Quest.
There's only one channel at that time.
That is the turning point of my life. I decided to take up science as a career, experimental science as a career, being inspired by your presentation in Quest.
When you made that model, and I took that and showed it to some people that this is a very important way of teaching chemistry.
Exactly, sir. Yeah. And there was Professor Partha Ghosh also with you initially in the Quest program, and then later on Professor Julie Banerjee. And I had also the fortune to be a student of Professor Julie Banerjee while I was studying my masters in chemistry at the Raja Bajar Science College. This question has always been in my mind, like how you got inspired into presentation of science out of textbooks for the students, because before that we had only rote learning. We had some laws, we had some description of experiments, and we had to mark up those, and then there were some derivations of certain formulas, and it often appeared like as if the laws came first and then came the experiments. It was from the Quest I learned that the experiments come first and that develops the laws.
There is a Chinese proverb which says that I read, I forget, I see, I remember, and I do, I understand. Without doing science, you don't have a proper understanding of science. That is what I have experienced. After my retirement in 1991, I have taken more than 350 or so science teachers' workshops throughout the country for 11-12 science. Then there are standard 10 or 12 experiments which the students have to do. But that's also for getting marks. But for understanding science, everyday science learning in the classroom should be done with experiments and activity. That is what I show in my workshops that I take. In fact, in January is full with workshops.
You must be 90 plus?
I am 90 plus, yes, and only 9 operations in my body.
And you are still young.
Yes, because the responsibility that I feel about the future generation, what kind of world I am leaving behind. Maybe that we can speak about this a little later. Okay.
Sir, can we have some idea about your growing up? Like if you are 90 plus, then you must be a lad of 15 or 16 when the independence came.
Yes, I did my school examination in 1948 when I was in Munger. My father was a doctor. I was born in Purnia. Purnia at that time was Bengali, a major population. And just 4 or 5 houses after my house was Shatinath Bhadavi's house. That was the time, that was what was Purnia at that time. Then my father was transferred to Dumka, where I was for 6 years. And then we shifted to Munger, where I was there for 2.5 years or so, where from I got my matriculation. And after that, my father expired before I appeared in the exam. We came to Calcutta, and then after my high school, I entered Scottish Church College. In the Scottish Church College, when I was doing ISc and BSc, at that time we had a marvelous teacher group in physics and chemistry. But in physics, Dr. D.P. Rai Chaudhary, whose book is very famous, whose book at that time is Dr. D.P. And he used to come in the class, array of experiments. And I still remember that the laws that he explained at that time with experiments, that is still in my mind. But then my exposure to science experiment came when I did my quest program.
Had a mining engineering thing?
I did after my graduation, I did mining engineering in School of Mines, Dhanbad, which is the most premier mining institution in that at that time.
Sir, I remember when I visited BITM when I was a schoolboy of say class 7 or 8. The most interesting part of it for me at that time was the mine. There is a coal mine in BITM Kolkata, and that was really fascinating. And the other thing that was fascinating was that there was a gallery of all gears, how they function. These things were very interesting for me.
But coal mine, of course, the BITM coal mine, I have been to different parts of the world. There is no other science museum which has coal mine, but the size and the viewers who are coming, they have an actual experience of a coal mine.
Yes, that is what.
Yes, at that time, yes, at that time, BE college students were brought to my museum to give a first experience of the first year students about what a mine is. It was full size coal mine
with every details.
Yes.
And sir, then coming back to Quest, because that was the turning point in my life and I first came to know about you. So how did the idea of getting a program like Quest?
You see, the Calcutta television, the head of science, Mr. Alok Sen, came one day to my museum and asked me, Mr. Bagchi, I had been to Germany on an exchange program, and there I saw a program called Kuf and Kuf, means head to head, where the father and their sons used to sit at two sides and they will ask questions and answer. So from Germany, the Germans will be coming on an exchange program. Could we arrange something like this in our studio? So he took me to Maxwell Bhavan and I saw a quest program. It was fantastic. The arrangements and the scope there is huge. They used to have in the studio a full-fledged petrol pump and the car. So that kind of facility. So we arranged my education department, mainly they helped. They prepared a few experiments, very simple experiments, low cost. And then the German came to see the old studio of not the present one.
Yeah, I understand, the Radha Film Studio.
Yes. And when they saw the studio, they said that no, we are not going to appear in this. Myself and that German used to take part in the first program of Quest. He said that no, with this studio I am not going to take part. Then this man came to my museum. Then he said, okay, I shall join. From that, this whole program started and we did
And I think they were also fascinated by the fact that you have been using very low cost daily life materials.
That is the reason why he decided to take part.
Show us one for our present viewers.
Low cost, okay?
Yeah, low cost.
Achha, human body is available in all schools.
Yeah,
Let me take up your body. How through your body we can make a class 12 student about a very important topic.
Yes.
You sit down, put your legs, put your hands on the. Now what you have to do, you have to get up vertically up, so that your forehead does not touch my. You have vertically up. Try to get up.
Impossible, sir. I need to lean forward.
No, you can't lean. You have to get up straight. See, show me what happens. You are falling down. You are falling down.
I'm falling down and.
Why are you falling down? So what is happening? That here we are explaining torque. You know, when you want to get up, you give a force on the floor.
Yes.
With your leg.
With my feet.
So the resultant of the when you apply the force, then according to Newton's third law, there is a reaction on your leg.
Comes like this.
And the resultant of that is here, away from your body. And most of your mass is here.
Yes.
So the center of gravity is somewhere here.
Yes.
And that is acting downward.
that
And
is
the
more
reaction
than
is
this.
acting upward. So there is a force upward, there is a force downward. It gives a torque and you make me fall. So what you do to get up? Very slowly. How you get up?
I come forward
You come forward.
and then
Then
I get up
you
like
can get
that.
up.
Yes.
So what are you doing when you come forward? You are bringing the center of gravity forward. So and when this comes over the reaction,
Then only I am
then
able
only you can. So when I get up like this, so I have brought my center of gravity forward.
to. Yes.
So these are the types of experiment. Say this is a toy which I got from the market. And this toy explains a wonderful thing. When I do it in the workshop, I ask the students, so you see this liquid is here. I hold it by hand, you see the liquid is rising up.
The heat of the pump.
So I ask them why it is rising up. Then when I hold it here, they all come down very quickly. And it's empty now. Why does it rise? What kind of liquid is this? I ask them. Now you see the construction, it is closed here. No air can enter, no air can go out. So this place is full of vapor of this, and this is a highly volatile liquid.
Exactly.
Like the spirit that you take for injection.
Yeah.
So it's highly volatile. So this place is full of vapor. Now when I put my hand, then this is warmed up. This gets
The vapor
heated.
gets warmed up
then,
and expands.
Then it tries to expand.
So it gives a pressure.
Then it gives a pressure, and that pressure pulls it up.
Right.
Okay? When I hold it, then that pressure again pulls it down. So these toys can be used. Our program is a bit different. When I take workshop, I show array of experiments to show how a topic in the classroom has to be taught with experiments, with low cost, no cost experiments. Very simple things can be used to explain very important things.
So
Okay.
Trying to explain something with
There is one more,
Yes.
say, on gravity.
Gravity.
Now you try to put your ear on your finger. What will happen if I leave it? What will happen? Will it stay there?
Hopefully not.
Yes. Now you see, what I do, I have a belt here, and I put this belt in this
Yeah.
place,
Yeah, in that group.
in this groove, yes. You put your finger here. So, she's standing.
Yeah.
Now, I bring it more towards your end of your finger. Still it is hanging.
Still inside.
Okay? Same reason. You see, this belt has come inside a little bit.
Yes.
Belt is not vertical. It has come inside. It is below the point of suspension.
Yeah.
the center of gravity of the belt
You have shifted the center of gravity towards me.
towards you. So they are in the same line. When they are in the same line, and you see this in circus, when a person, when a girl moves over a rope with a big
Big bar on
bar,
her hand,
yes,
with her
yes,
hand,
on the hand.
sudden weight,
Same principle.
yeah.
Now suppose if it has to fall this side. What is happening? The center of gravity is somewhere here. It goes up. You see?
Yeah.
See? It has gone up.
Yeah.
Then it will. What will happen? It will then fall. Let me see the kagoj. If I release it, it will come down
Yes.
by gravity.
Yes.
By itself, it cannot go up. It can go up only when I apply a force upward.
Yes.
Now here you see, when I raise it, I raise the center of gravity up. So what will happen if I release it? It will go down, center of gravity will go down, center of gravity goes down. You take it up, center of gravity will go down.
Yes.
So this is the most stable position. This is the most stable position. When it falls, its center of gravity goes down. Its center of gravity cannot go up by itself. So these are the very simple toys. This is sold as a toy, okay?
Yeah.
But they never use it like this.
No, definitely.
When I got this,
But I understand those toys, they use these basic principles of physics, basic principles of science in most of these simple toys which we used to play with. Now, sir, the other interesting aspects of your my association with you is, first thing I see, over maybe almost 3.5 decades I am getting associated with you. You are always younger than all of us. What keeps you young? There must be some trick. You are even younger than the children attending your workshops. I've seen that with my own eyes. So,
my life has changed, after I came to Scottish College and BSc, I saw those experiments which the professor used to do, Professor I. Chaudhary, and also in chemistry, Jyotirmoy Chatterjee, I still remember the name. He was a very famous chemistry teacher. But then after I joined Birla Industrial Museum, I opened the museum for the outsiders. At that time, they didn't have to pay anything. They used to hold exhibition, talks on different topics. Being the head of the museum, later on, after Dr. Ghosh became the Director General, Dr. Saroj Ghosh, the doyen of a person. Then I became the director of the museum. I opened the museum for everybody. So I had, being the director, I had to attend the meetings in the auditorium. So that also gave me a learning. Moreover, one more thing happened in my life when I was doing my BSc. A distant relation of mine, we used to go together to college, working for 2.5 years. He became a communist and he went to jail. Came back from jail and then entered into the college along with me, and we were staying in the very nearby, and two of us went and, to go into the college. And every day the door is closed, cholbena, that used to go on. And I had no knowledge of these things. Coming from Bihar, I was a Ganya. Then gradually, while going for 2 years along with him, then I came in contact with Marxism. And then Marxism gave me the habit of reading. Not only reading novels and also Marxist literature and all that, but also love of poetry. And that love of poetry was also generated by the Bengali teacher of my college. My Lord, I, a Ganya, sitting there in the classroom, and this gentleman, Bipin Babu, used to teach Bengali. And when he used to take up a piece, he used to recite Bengali and English poem continuously. And I, with wonder, used to hear those poems. I do not know whether it created certain impression in my mind. Later on, I became a great lover of poetry. Yes. In my house...
You often recite poetries when we travel together.
I recite poetry.
Yes.
Where my heart lies, you will hear later. when we go on, where my heart lies, why I do all this,
And sir, I have also, while discussing many different things with you during our travel together, I find you have a tremendous love for Gandhiji. And in your writings, I find somewhere you try to blend together Gandhian principle and Rabindranath. And that finally goes into a consciousness towards the nature, environment. And you have been an activist for the environmental consciousness.
Yes, environment and also social, both.
And social as well.
Besides being a science education activist, after retirement in 1991, you see how many years, more than 30 years I have retired. But then life did not allow me to stand still. The earth is going to collapse today because of climate change, not only climate change. Say, I speak a sentence and 40 football field of equivalent of forest get. In 2018, 50 crore trees were cut in the Amazon forest, which is the lung of the world. 50% of the living species is in the tropical forests, and those tropical forests are cut for various purposes. Also, forest fires are taking place. So everything is collapsing. The water, the air, the ocean, biodiversity. You take the soil. They say that by 2060 there will be no soil on earth, because soil is being depleted from earth. When I was doing this in 1980s, it was nearly 2,500 crore tons of soil from the earth is going to the rivers and ocean. And India's share was 600 crore tons of soil. And to make a soil,
Almost 1/4.
yes, to make soil, it takes hundreds and hundreds of years. Yes. So, but that is being eroded like this. And I read a report where it says that might be that the earth will have no soil. So how the food will be growing, we do not know. So things are very bad. So my consciousness about nature, that started a little earlier. But then my interest in Gandhi, with Tagore of course it was there, but the one aspect of Tagore, I find that Tagore lived for 10 years in the village, in East Bengal, in his Jamindari. He was sent when he was only 28 years old to look after the Jamindari. And I find that this 10 years of his experience in the village, in nature, changed Tagore completely. He writes the essay in 1905, Bilasher Fash, News of Luxury. He writes Swadeshi Samaj, like Gandhi writes Hind Swaraj in 1907. He writes in 1904, where he describes about the type of society that we have to build. He went against city civilization, he went against industrialization, he went against the Western civilization. In 1940, the year before his death, he writes to Amiya Chakraborty, the poet. He was then outside the country. He wrote to him from Kalimpong that using Brahmin's knowledge, Kshatriya's arms and Sudra's services, today's commercially minded Europe has become irresistible, but I can see their feet on a downward slope towards extinction. In Shubhata Samaj, in the Crisis in Civilization, he writes, for so many years I had believed in the European civilization. Today, at the time of my departure, that belief has been completely shattered. So he became against city civilization, against industrialization. Gandhi, of course, all of us know that how he believed in to construct India in the way of village. In 1945, on 5th of October, he writes to Nehru a letter. 45, it's 2 years hence independence was coming. He wrote a letter on 1945, 5th of October, that if I have any difference with you regarding how India has to be remade, then people of India must know about it. He said, I am convinced that if India has to attain true freedom, and through India perhaps the whole world also, then the fact must be recognized that people have to live in villages, not in towns, in huts, not in palaces. Because in towns and palaces, people will have no other recourse but to take to violence and untruth. He says, I am an admirer of modern science, which he was not in Hind Swaraj. He says, I am an admirer of modern science, but it has to be reclothed and refashioned aright. My ideal village will not be the village of today, living in dirt and darkness. Men and women will be able to stand against anybody, anywhere in the world. He writes this letter to Jawaharlal Nehru. Within 4 days, Jawaharlal Nehru replies, 9th October. There he says, your Hind Swaraj was written 38 years back. It was written in Gujarati in 1907. But the world has completely changed since then. Then mark the word. Then he writes, perhaps in a wrong direction. Then he says, you are right in saying that the world is bent on committing suicide. It is an evil seed planted in civilization. So knowing fully well, we drank the poison of the modern city civilization and the Western civilization, and see what is happening today. The hungriest people of the whole world live here in India. Every 3 seconds a child dies out of malnutrition. And the recent report of the Oxfam gives a very difficult picture about India. So we have to really change India in a new way.
And that change you have been trying to bring in by creating awareness to sustainable science among the school children. I have seen you for the past 30-35 years in a very close quarters, that you are passionate about training up the school children with a mental orientation to science. Whether they take up science as a career or take up commerce or literature, whatever, but you focused on their mental orientation, that they have some concept of science which is sustainable. Yes, so that is what I admire the most, and I, in my little capacity, try to do a little bit of that.
And when I see you, I have been seeing like this for the last so many years. You are also very simple. Yeah. When you go for training, I have seen that you are wearing very simple dress. For the last 30 years or more, I have never purchased anything. I have never gone to a market. Every year some presents come to me, and that also I give away, because I don't need. I don't need much.
Yes, if we can reduce our needs and reduce our greeds, I must say. Yes, that is what I also tell the students when I go to such workshops or even in my college, that if we can reduce our greed, that will reduce our need. What we actually need and what we think is necessary.
Like Gandhi. Gandhiji has said that nature has given man enough to satisfy his need, but not enough to satisfy his greed. Rabindranath also talks in the same term. Rabindranath says simplicity is the mark of the civilized, excess of barbarism. Simplicity is the mark of the civilized and excess of barbarism. Same idea. Yeah. So Tagore and Gandhi, they became very close friends. Gandhi was junior to him by about 9-10 years, but then they became very close friends. At the end of his life, Tagore gave a letter to Gandhiji that you look after Vishwabharati. Look after Vishwabharati when I shall be no more. So they were very close together. You see, that I am a lover of poetry. I may quote you a poem where my heart lies. In the same way, poet Arun Mitra, whom I consider one of the very Bengal, Arun Mitra, in one of his poems, he says, Brikho Mule, Amar Gobhirotama Kotha ami rekhe diyechi. All my deepest words I have laid on the roots of the trees. Amar somosto attiyota tar sathe. All my relationship is with that. That means with the roots of the trees. Roots of the trees are allegory or the metaphor for the common poor people. আমার সমস্ত আত্মীয়তা তার সাথে, কেননা আকুল জল সেখানেই ঢালা হয়েছিল আর শীত গ্রীষ্মের মার পড়েছিল বুকে আর পেটে, বিকজ অল দি চার্নড ওয়াটার্স ওয়ার লেট দেয়ার অ্যান্ড দি বিটিংস অফ সামার্স অ্যান্ড উইন্টার হ্যাভ গন দেয়ার। ফুল ফলের সাজ আলো ছায়ার ঝিলিমিলি বলে কি সুখ কি সুখ, the fruits and the flowers that rise up and the glittering of lights and all that says, oh wow, beautiful, how beautiful. কিন্তু চোরমার পাঁজরে in the broken reefs যেখানে দুঃখ জমে থাকে, where the sorrow lies, I have seen that, আমি তাকে দেখেছি, তাই আমার প্রেম আমি পেতেছি মাটিতে আর ধুলায়, so I have laid my love on the soil and on the dust. That's my I have.
So that is what is keeping you
pushing
young
me, yes,
and motivated to work with so much agility even at this
age. That's,
thank you, sir.
and also the future generation. What kind of parched earth we are living. I shall quote again two poets. I shall let me quote two poets. One is Jivanananda, the other most significant poet after Tagore, the most significant poet after Tagore. অদ্ভুত আধার এক এসেছে পৃথিবীতে আজ, যারা অন্ধ তারা দেখে সবচেয়ে বেশি, যাদের হৃদয়ে প্রেম নাই, প্রীতি নাই, করুণার আলোড়ন নাই, পৃথিবী অচল আজ তাদের সুপরামর্শ ছাড়া. This is the type of world.
Yes.
The same way W.B. Yeats, who read the poetry of Tagore at Hampstead Heath in London, in 1912, he got Nobel Prize in 1913. W.B. Yeats said, things fall apart, the center cannot hold, mere anarchy is loosed upon the world, the blood-dim tide is loosed, the ceremony of innocence is drowned, the best lack all convictions, and the worst are full of passionate intensity. This is the world we have created. And we, the old people, what kind of parched earth we are living behind. That really goes me, that whatever life is now I have, let me contribute towards the society if I can put some kind of change in the minds of the younger ones.
Fantastic, sir. It has been a very nice time with you, and I learned a lot of things again. Every time I come to you, I learn a lot of things.
Yes, great. But meeting you after a long time.
Yes.
Maybe 2 years or 3 years.
2 years, 3 years,
2 years COVID.
2 years COVID and then 1 year.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
A wonder patriot, groomed all by himself in his very own style, Samar Bagchi's inspiring life and never-ending quest to search and explore science and sharing and awakening the minds of generations to come will be an ideal tribute to our country India in commemoration of her 75th year of independence.